Are you a wedding pro or other local based business looking to book more clients? If so, you are in the right place, and my guest will be sharing all about that and more. Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Jen Vasquez. I help hyper busy female service providers use Pinterest to book more clients and increase their income and impact. And on this podcast, I have the pleasure of hosting experts in the marketing industry, and it's one of my favorite things to do each week. If marketing is something that you really want to learn more about for your business, we would love to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. Today, I'm excited to be chatting with Nergis Yuksel. She is a wedding SEO consultant, mindful advocate, and digital nomad. Lover of Yorkshire tea. We just had a full conversation before we went live. Esther and Eric candies and a good disco playlist. You and I are like best friends because I love my tea and I love a good disco playlist. My entire wedding was disco music. If you didn't guess it already, a former wedding planner with over 5 years in the UK's luxury wedding planning scene. So she does know all things of wedding. But if you're not a wedding pro, fear not and listen further because you will get some really good information here. Nergis brings to the table a refined blend of luxury event management and digital marketing. She specializes in aiding service-based small businesses with a particular emphasis on wedding SEO. Her passion is teaching wedding business owners how to do SEO, demystifying the process, and showing them that it doesn't need to be complicated. In marrying her depth of understanding of the wedding industry with adept SEO expertise, Nergis provides a uniquely tailored approach to digital marketing. Because let's be honest, when it comes to the wedding industry or a local based business and SEO, there's some things we need to talk about today that people often overlook or listen to sort of general SEO advice. So this is going to be the podcast for you. Welcome, Nergis. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited for this.
Me too. A large portion of our listeners are wedding pros and local service businesses. So I think we're going to be right up their alley. But again, if you're not, take a listen because there's going to be some good information for you here. We always start with this question, and I really love how everyone takes this windy route in different jobs and education and all those things to become the business that you are today. So tell us a little bit about your origins and how you got to where you were.
Sure. So yeah, mine was definitely not a standard route. I am originally from Istanbul, Turkey, as you can guess from my name. So I actually studied psychology, clinical psychology, and I thought I was going to be a therapist. And then I came to UK to do my master's. I fell in love with the country and I wanted to stay. And it was it was going to be really tough to be a therapist in the UK as a Turkish national because, there are lots of like things around it. So I was basically, okay, do I want to do psychology or do I want to stay in the UK? What's more dominant? And I was like, you know what? I am going to stay in the UK because I believe that, there's no one path for anyone, right? We can find lots of different passions. And then I was like, okay, what can I do? I always loved weddings. I always loved organizing. So I basically found myself in the events and wedding industry. I did that for 5 years. I loved it, as you mentioned. So I did work with a company called Liz Linkletter Events, doing like luxury events, just not in the UK, but also Europe. It was amazing. I loved it. But then COVID happened. And that was really dark times, especially, for everyone, but especially for weddings and events industries. It was like, I don't even want to remember those days. Basically, what we were doing was just like postponing wedding after wedding, and nothing else. And I'm a high achiever, I have to say. I can't just sit at home and not do anything. I like finding projects for myself. So I was like, okay, I have too much time on my hand. What do I do? I was always interested in SEO. Like I knew about SEO, like every business owner, but I just never really understood what it was. The only thing like I knew was like, okay, something to do with blogging, but I never actually really know what it was. And it's always sounded also a bit technical. So when I was basically at lockdown, sitting at home, I decided to learn more about SEO. I started a blog for myself, interior design blog. I basically tested my knowledge, and I just loved it as I read and learned more about it and tested it. I just find it really interesting, and also I have no technical background, like whatsoever. I don't know coding, but it's just like minimal. I'm really like your usual girl, basically. So yeah, I was like really curious. I was like, okay, so what it means to be an SEO person. I started looking for jobs, and I found, because I was bored and I love doing projects, I also started like taking up on some hobbies like embroidery and knitting. And I was ordering my supplies online from this e-commerce company called Lovecrafts. When I was just like looking for SEO jobs to see what it means, I just miraculously saw an entry level SEO job for Lovecrafts. And I was like, wait a minute, I am buying from this company. I love them. And I was like, this is surely like there is something going on here. The universe is trying to tell me something.
Totally. The universe, I always say it's like a love shove, right? It's the
Yeah.
universe is getting you, pushing you forward.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, I need to apply. I applied and I got the job. And then obviously I was like, okay, this is happening. So I decided to quit weddings basically, and I started as an SEO. I did it for about 2 years in-house for this e-commerce company. I could safely say that I was thrown into the deep end, because I think big e-commerce SEO that's where things could get complicated and confusing. And I think that's why mostly the information out there is all about these huge websites, and that's what confuses people. But we can talk about that.
Yeah, we will.
And yeah, and then I just really missed the wedding industry. I just missed being with the creative people, the wedding suppliers. That was one of the things I loved about my job. Like, I was spending my days talking to different suppliers, right? I need to find a way to merge these two things that I love now. And I decided to offer my services mainly for local businesses, local service-based businesses, but with main focus on the wedding industry, because I just love wedding businesses and weddings in general.
Yeah, what the wedding businesses are a different animal, actually.
Yes, yeah.
And the fact that you have such good experience in the wedding industry and SEO makes that's like a perfect niche for you, for sure.
Yeah.
For wedding businesses navigating through, let's be honest, every industry says we've got a crowded industry, really. But wedding industry is very crowded. Like, you
Yeah.
could throw a rock and hit a wedding photographer or a wedding planner these days.
Yes.
But why should SEO be a sort of non-negotiable investment, and how does it strategically fit into an overall marketing plan?
So let me start with this. Now, recently I got engaged, and now I'm also
So now you're seeing it from
trying
the
to.
other side. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But you are right. I mean, the tons of wedding suppliers out there. It's a very competitive, it's a very crowded industry, and it's getting more competitive every day. So you really need to have a good, solid marketing to to be in front of the couples who are looking for you, right? First of all, SEO, I think for any business, it is a long-term investment, right? I mean, we SEOs keep saying that, but that is true, because initially, yes, maybe you need to put in the time or the money if you want to work with someone, or if you want to do it on your own, which perfectly possible. Anyone can do it, by the way. Then yeah, it requires a bit of time in the beginning, but everything you do today like brings you results for years to come. And then I think that's really valuable, because nowadays, like, it's very similar to Pinterest, because Pinterest
I
is
was going to
basically a
say, they're
search
like,
engine.
it's
Yeah.
it's search engine marketing is only SEO, Google, and YouTube, right? Everything else oftentimes is social
Yeah.
media, and a lot of people are on social media because that's what they like know and use personally a lot.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
honestly, the biggest bang for your time or even your investment dollar on search marketing platforms give you
Yes.
years of
Exactly.
love back. So it's like a really good return on your time investment as well as your
Exactly.
monetary.
Exactly. And like with other like less like Instagram and all the other social, which by the way, I love Instagram. I personally love it as a platform. But like what you do is you put out content, right? And it's there maybe 48 hours if you're lucky, then that content is gone. So you need to constantly produce content. And if we be honest, especially with the wedding industry, it's first of all, everyone is so busy, right? Like your day to day is already busy anyways. And most of the time, even the very high-end luxury suppliers who do these amazing weddings, most of the time it's just one person, maybe with an assistant or a one full-time employee, but mostly in the wedding industry, you work with freelancers. So you don't have time to put out content there every day or even like maybe twice a week, right? And this is what we had when I was a wedding industry supplier and also with my clients is no one has that time and it stresses people out, right? And if you're only focusing on social media, then what do you do when you are so busy you can't put out the post,
And
right? That means you're
basically disappear from the social media
exactly.
during busy season. It's not even a
Exactly.
possible sometimes. Yeah.
No, no, but like when you have SEO, so like search Google, Pinterest, what it gives you is it gives you that luxury to have those quiet moments on social media because even if you're not posting, people will still find you on Google and they will book a call with you. They will get in touch with you, even if you're not doing anything. Like I'm a digital nomad, right? And I'm like, there are times that I'm really busy. So I don't always post on Instagram. There are times that I just want to step away, even just to have time with my family, right? My family lives in Istanbul. When I go, I don't want to work. I don't want to think about posting. I just want to be there with my family. Whenever I have 2 weeks breaks at Instagram, I still get like calendar bookings people who find me on SEO, like on Google. So that's like the biggest luxury I think any business can have. And that's, I think, why SEO, I mean, to me, is like non-negotiable and it should be the one thing you need to do if you pick just one thing for your marketing, because that's just going to give you so much freedom.
I also feel like some people will invest in it and it's kind of a one and done. And the problem with that is as you pivot your business or as the keywords online change for new different generations, they're going to use different keywords. You do have to keep it up. So even if you invest and get someone to help you, you're still going to have to invest more time. But it's, again, so minimal compared to social media that it's like the positive thing to do. If I don't have time to create a new blog post, I'll just take an old blog post from years ago, update it with all the current information and my current photos, right? And instantly I have another hit out there. It feels easier.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I always say, I think best way to do your marketing is focus on your website, like your long form blog content, your service pages. Just make sure they're optimized and make that your primary one, right? And then once you have that, you can just repurpose that content, right? Pinterest, love Pinterest because it's so easy, it's so beautiful, so visual, and it's incredible, especially for wedding industry, because all the couples are going to go there to get inspiration. That's basically, I'm spending most of my time on Pinterest nowadays to do that. And then you can, when you have like one blog post or a gallery or even your service page, like you're going to already have so much nice visuals on your website anyways. So it's just pinning that onto Pinterest and that's so easy. And then for Instagram, again, like from one post, from one gallery, you can create tons of Instagram posts,
Yes.
right?
Each blog post can be 5 to 7 different Instagram posts,
Exactly.
and you can repeat those posts after each year, especially if you're in the wedding industry, because you have a client usually once. I mean, I've had a couple repeats over the 15 years I've been in the wedding
Yeah.
industry, but in general, you have a whole new influx of people all the time. So
Yeah.
you can just have those on repeat if you want.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what also happens is like I remember during my wedding planning days, we would like repurpose the same images sometimes. And especially, you have some like this like really knockout images and people don't mind them seeing them. They just love it. We used to put, and they would get so much love, and people would comment, "Oh my God, I forgot about this one. It's so beautiful." And that's the beauty of, I guess, with any creative business, really, but especially for wedding industry, because you have
You have
great content
thousands and
already.
thousands of images from each wedding. It's like you're in a good situation, especially if you
Yeah,
make friends with the wedding photographer that did the wedding that you are a part of. We love to share those photos with you guys because you're getting them out there and tagging us. Like that's the
definitely.
beauty of the wedding industry is you've got a lot of people to tag, so you get shared a whole lot more. Can
Exactly.
you shed light on the interplay between SEO and other marketing efforts to create a cohesive but effective strategy for attracting those ideal clients that you're wanting to book?
So first of all, I always say this to my clients as well. You need to be quite clear on what your brand is. Like how does your brand feel? Who are your target audience? Like who are you talking to? What's your brand voice? Because like with SEO as well, you want to come across as who you are. This is like authentic marketing. That's what's really important. And some people think that, oh, if I'm going to do SEO, it's going to sound robotic. It's going to be like this. No, like if you're doing that, you're not doing it right? So first you need to make sure that you have this coherent brand across all your channels, that you are like authentically yourself, and that resonates with whoever your ideal clients are. And then I always say, like, I think search marketing and social goes hand in hand, and they complement each other so well. Because let's be
Perfectly.
honest, yeah, let's be honest. Like if someone finds you on Google, they are going to want to check you out on Instagram. Like
Yeah,
pretty much,
that's part of the client journey on Pinterest also is that once they click on a pin and they go to your website and they're interested, the first thing they're going to do is look on Instagram to see all your current work, which of course it doesn't have to be current, but that's what is in their mind. And months later, when they decide to potentially reach out to you and you ask them how they found you, they're going to say Instagram. So we definitely
yes.
want to use more clarifying questions because I did this in 2020. I say this a lot on my podcast, so I know I'm repeating myself. But in 2020 and 2021 and 2022, I reached out to former clients and asked them like how they found me, that they had said Instagram, and were they referred by someone or did they use a hashtag? Because I was really identifying my marketing process and seeing
Mhm.
which worked. And something like 70-ish% of the people that said Instagram actually found me from a blog post or Pinterest.
Yeah,
That's huge because that's
it
like
is.
where you get new eyeballs. And then Instagram and your email are that nurture process.
Yeah, exactly. It's also like, so it may be that someone found you like on Instagram and they started following you, because like this process also long, right? It's not just someone decided to get engaged or decided to invest in a service and they're looking for it, right? They will be like following suppliers even before they got engaged, or if it's another local business, they will be. With Instagram algorithm as well, you don't always see the people you are following. I'm just suddenly realizing, and I'm like, oh my God, I completely forgot about this person. Amazing.
Yeah,
So
it's
what?
something like 3% of the people that follow you actually see your posts. That's
Yeah,
insane.
it is insane. Yeah, that's the downside. But yeah, so let's say someone is already following you, but they've forgotten about you because they're not seeing you on Instagram, right? And then when it's time for them to actually invest in that service, they went on the Google or Pinterest and they're searching and your business came up. I mean, that's just automatically they're going to be like, oh, I know this supplier. Or, it's really valuable to actually be on all these platforms, because like it doesn't matter where people start their journey from. It's just they are going to be checking you out on different places. And if you come across on those different platforms, they're automatically going to start trusting you more and more. So yeah, I think it's really important. I always say like your website is like your initial like shopfront. They come and find you, they check you out, they browse, they like you, and then they come to your Instagram maybe. Same with Pinterest. And then that's where you have this like really getting to know each other. They really start to get to know you, like you, and then yeah, if they resonate with you, they're going to get in touch and book you.
And so often people who book me are not even following me, but they talk about something I posted. So it doesn't mean that they are even following you on Instagram, but they're stalking you. They're
Yeah,
looking at your posts. They're going to your page, specifically your Instagram site, to see the new things that you're putting on there, which is quite
yeah,
interesting. I just would assume people would follow, and that's not actually the case.
yeah.
So good to know.
True.
In an industry as unique as like weddings, but also for local businesses, what makes SEO different and distinct from general SEO practices? And why might general SEO advice actually really not be helpful for local type of service industry?
First of all, even with the locals businesses, right? Every business, every niche is really different depending on what your service is. So I always say, like, take every SEO advice with a bit of pinch of salt because it may not be the right advice for your business. And that's why I think it's really important. Like, there is the good thing with SEO and the industry is there's so much free information out there, right? But that also makes it so confusing, so complicated. You don't know which one is right for you. So it's really good to be mindful of those things. For a local business, right? It's really important to use for keywords. So what people search for, they are probably going to be searching for like certain locations, cities, towns. So you automatically have those things to be mindful of, and it actually opens up a lot of opportunities, especially if you're a service business, that you're not just based in one area, but like you can travel around. Like, for example, like wedding businesses,
Yes.
wedding suppliers, like you may be based in, let's say, because I'm from UK, I'm going to say London, but you're probably offering your services all around the UK, right? So it opens up so many possibilities. And we can talk about that, how to do that strategically. And the other thing is, so this could sound a bit controversial. So blogging is really important, right? But blogging is just one part of your SEO strategy. To be honest, especially in the wedding industry, and we can go deep in this, not everyone needs to blog traditionally and blog all the time, and that's the beauty of the wedding industry because it's so distinct, and that's why, for example, certain businesses, if it's more in the area of, for example, well-being, health, finances, it's very different than the wedding industry, because with those businesses you actually can have a negative impact on people's life, right? So Google is much more strict. So you need to show Google that you have super authority, and the way to do that is to write lots of informative blog posts, lots of backlinks, and just show that you are actually expert on that area, right? Otherwise, it's so competitive to rank. Whereas when it's come to wedding industry, you're not really going to risk anything in someone's life. You're just like a nice industry. You're giving information, providing information, valuable information, and also inspiration. So it's slightly different. You don't need to put out blog posts that much. What you need to do is like, so we always talk about value, right? But what is value is also different in different businesses. So for wedding industry, for example, your value is, first of all, yes, giving useful information. So if someone is want to know more about wedding planning, like the budgets, how to pick the venue, how to pick a photographer, just providing those tips, that's value. But the other thing is inspiration, right? Inspiration is value. And how we do that is providing specific galleries, portfolio pages, showing out of like beautiful work out there, because that is value. Like couples are going to want to see inspiration for their own wedding. It's slightly different. We need to look at it from a slightly different perspective, really understand, like the main thing with SEO is really understand what our ideal clients are looking for, what they want to know, what they're looking for, what they want, right? And then just provide that. That's all Google wants. So yeah, it's really distinct. It's really important to understand those differences and come up with your own strategy, right? And like I always say, like people come to me always, they're like, oh, Nergis, I heard that I need to blog all the time. It's like I don't love writing, or I don't know, like, oh, how often should I write? What should I write about? How long should my blog post? Personally, don't like saying set answers because it's different, right? Like it depends on your business goals. Like what's your business goals? what do you want to get? And then after that, you can come up with, okay, what content is going to be useful for me? Is it going to be galleries? Is it going to be blog posts? And how often do I need to have that? And it's again, like looking at, let's say, right, someone wants to get more winter bookings, because winter is usually a very quiet time for wedding industry, right? So if they want to increase their winter bookings, then okay, we'll think about that. First of all, you need to think, if it's winter, you probably want to start thinking about that content and publish it months before that, because it takes time.
Yes. Same with Pinterest for anyone listening.
And then you need to think about, so what do I have, right? You can write a blog post explaining why it is amazing to have a winter wedding, what makes winter weddings special, tips on planning a winter wedding for photographers, for example, because it's different, like the light is different, like what to pay attention to for winter weddings. So that's information.
Or tips to have at your winter wedding to make guests comfortable, right?
Exactly. Yeah, yes. And then also you can think about, if you've already done a winter wedding before, right? If you already have beautiful images, then maybe you say, actually, I'm just going to target certain keywords. Maybe it's like, I don't know, chic winter wedding in London. It could also be a specific venue. And then you create a beautiful portfolio with your images, optimizing your images, and we can talk about that. Or I have a blog post people can check out in detailed how you optimize. And then it just literally a good title, that's always important, to keyword in. And then just a little bit, like it doesn't have to be long, just a little bit of information, what the brief was, what that wedding is, and you're done, right? That's just out there and people are going to find it. They're going to be inspired and they're probably going to get in touch with you if they like your work. So it's always thinking about what do I want to achieve, right? Which service I want to sell, which type of weddings or projects I want to get, and then just going back from that.
Beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about wedding businesses that are at various stages. So maybe some tips for wedding businesses that are very new. They have a new business or a new website, and then tips for businesses that have been in business for a while and what those types of SEO strategies or tips you can share.
That's a perfect question. So let's start with the beginners who are just starting out. They probably not have a huge portfolio to showcase, right? And people usually stress about, especially when we talk about inspiration, like, oh, but I don't have anything to show. That's fine. You have your expertise, you have your value in terms of like providing tips, right? So if you are a wedding business just starting out, or you're still new, you don't have much work to show, then you should focus much more on like tips and advice type blog posts, right? To just really show people your expertise, that you're going to be helpful to them. So just think about, let's say, if you're a wedding planner or a photographer, just think about, okay, what people are going to want to know, and you want to make sure that it's relevant to your services. And then you put out blog posts around that. You can use really nice stock images as well. That really doesn't matter, it's just all about the information you're providing, how you come across. So I would say, first of all, every business, no matter what stage, focus on your service pages, right? So this is mostly your homepage. Make sure that your homepage, that's your biggest asset. So your homepage should be fully optimized. And then after that, your about and your service pages. So if you're doing different types of like services, different events, then just make sure that you have specific pages for all of them, and those are fully optimized, because that's
Beautiful.
what we call in the search, and that's this just in general. Actually, buyer journey is different. Like there are people who know what they want. Let's say now I'm going to give myself as an example, but let's say I'm engaged. I know that I want to book a photographer. I know what type of photographer I book. So I'm going to search specifically to find photographers to book, because I know I want to book a photographer, right? So
and typically in the area you're getting married, you're
exactly.
going to use
and that's what I'm doing. Yes,
yes.
that's what I'm doing.
I want to be very mindful of those out there that are wanting to be travel photographers or travel, like you're willing to travel the world, which is great. But most couples that are booking wedding pros are wanting to book them in the area where their venue is, because they don't necessarily want to pay for travel fees. So I always say, like for my wedding photographers, go visit the area that you want to photograph in and take photos at wedding venues in the area. You can take tours like you're getting married, you can take photos, you can do all those things, and then sharing about that venue. Even if you haven't photographed a wedding there,
Exactly.
just the photos that you have can get you seen. I have booked many clients at the venues that I want to photograph at just by doing that.
Exactly. And that's a great tip, because you're right. And I always say this, like, think about what venues you want to get more bookings at, right? Or what towns and cities, because that's so true. Like, certain venue, every venue is going to attract a certain type of clientele, right? So if you know what type of clients, what type of budgets you want to attract, then you can decide on, okay, this and this and this venue is going to bring me that type of client. So focus on, as you said, have blog posts or pages specifically for that venue, right? And then, as you say, especially for photographers, I think that's much easier in a sense, because you can contact a venue, you can tell them, "Can I come and take a few photos?" They will love it, because then you can share that. They can share that on their
It's
website.
marketing for them too. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Exactly. And then you can just, you can talk about the venue, what makes that venue special, and just add your beautiful photos, and that job is done, and you'll probably rank, right? It's the same, like, if someone is, like, as you said, a travel photographer or like doing destination weddings, I would still, again, wherever, as you said, wherever you're based, you definitely need to have your homepage on your footer everywhere, to tell, like, that's because that's going to be your main area, like that's going to be your main visibility is coming from your area. But then you can create other pages to target specific towns, even areas or countries. Like, I always do that with my clients. Like, if I have a destination wedding photographer who's based in London, we optimize the whole website mostly for London, but then we have a
Yes.
separate page for destination weddings. And on the destination weddings, if they want to get more weddings in Italy and especially Tuscany, then we have Tuscany wedding photographer. And you just talk about your unique selling points. Maybe if you're not local, you can talk about why they should pick you over a local photographer, who should pick you over a local photographer, right? Just creating all those different pages. So when we say local SEO, yes, again, you need to first focus on your area that you're based in, but then
Yes.
you can do other pages to target different locations and areas. And that could be as wide as a country and as small as a specific venue. So that's super important.
And every blog that you post for a wedding, so each wedding that you have is a microcosm, like it's treat it like your homepage, like that blog
Yeah.
post, whatever city it's in, if there's multiple different names for it, like there's city and area and like San Jose, Bay Area, and California, right? Like it's got multiple names. So you can use those throughout each blog post that you've done a wedding at in order to rank. And it that way it sounds human versus keyword stuffing and putting
Yes.
keywords
Yeah.
everywhere, which is Google's smarter than that. Let's just put that out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's that I'm really glad you said Google, especially nowadays, is super smart in certain cases. I mean, if you're not using a keyword, Google can understand from the context. So the most important thing is that you are writing with your own voice, you're not forcing anything, and you're not repeating the same thing over and over again. Keyword variations are fine as well. Synonyms are fine. So just that, I always tell everyone, first write your copy as you would talk to a client or someone. Like, if someone asks you about that venue, let's say it's a venue, just naturally write about it. If writing is hard, you can record yourself while talking about that, right?
Brilliant.
And then put that in words, and only after that go back to it and add the keywords wherever it makes sense and wherever it's natural. Yes, there are certain places we want to use keywords, definitely, but that's not like everywhere. It doesn't mean that you can't be creative or you can have your own brand voice. On that thing, what you said also, Jen, which is so valuable, that every page is basically kind of your micro homepage. That's so true, because you don't know from which page people are going to enter to your website, right? If you're doing your SEO well, they can find you from any page. So you need to be super, super careful that whichever page they land on your website, it's so clear who you are, what you do, what you offer, and there's some kind of a link or call to action to either get in touch with you or check more about your services. That is one thing I see a lot in the wedding industry. People put out these amazing blog posts, amazing content, doesn't
But
mention
it's
who
not a
they are.
standalone. Yes, yes.
Exactly. And like what happens? People come on, they read it, there's no call to action. Amazing, they get to value, they get inspired, and then what they do, then they leave, right? Because you didn't give them anything. They don't know who it is. So always I say, like, ideally, if you can, on the first paragraph, mention who you are and why you are right and what makes you expert on that topic. And you can add it in very, very casually, very nicely. And then at the bottom, always have some call to action, whether to get in touch with you, check other blog posts, check out your services, just give people something to do. And always, like, even if you mention, like, in blog posts, like, let's say you are the photographer, always, always, always add a wedding photographer and your business, or the wedding planner and your business, and ideally from your business card, give a link back to your homepage. Those are really important. So that was a great point you made, and I just wanted to say, because you don't want to waste those amazing content and blog posts you're putting out there by not mentioning yourself.
And then let's wrap around now and come at it from an experienced wedding business.
Yeah. Before that, actually, sorry, I just want to also say, people may think, like, we're not photographers. They may think, okay, it's good for photographers. They can go to venues and take photos and can still showcase their work.
Use your cell
like,
phone.
no, but also, like, if, like, they're like, well, how do I show? Like, for example, your wedding planner, what do I do? You can literally, it's like, you can create like a little mood board on your website, right? With Pinterest images. You can talk about the venue. You can talk about what makes that venue great. Maybe the flow of today, you can say, oh, you can have your drinks reception at this beautiful gardens. And then you can have a mood board. Maybe you have a color palette for that venue. Maybe some imagery, like design, and just create this really beautiful, inspirational blog post, right? Same with, let's say you're a stationery designer. Do the same thing and just come up with a brief that you think will work really well for that specific venue and style. Put different, like, images from that type of maybe stationery you've done, and just tie it to that venue or to that location. Like, it's like, we can be really creative. You don't need to have a project that you've done specifically for that venue or location. So there are ways around that for beginners. So please don't feel anxious that you don't have portfolio to showcase or anything like that. As long as you're providing value and inspiration, that's all good.
Super smart.
And then for experienced ones, so for experienced businesses, it's a bit different, I would say, especially if, like, for example, most of my clients were experienced. They come to me and they're like, oh, I don't, like, I get leads somehow because, like, I have referrals. People already know me, know my brand now, but I want to have, like, this specific type of clients. I want to get weddings for this specific budget. That could be for anyone, like interior designers, other businesses. So what you then do is, again, you really do a deep dive into those clients, understand what they will be searching, and that takes us to user journey again, right? So how, especially in the wedding industry, how people search as well. They probably decide on the venue, right? They are either looking at the venue, different locations, and they probably decide on the venue, and they'll be searching that venue. That's what I'm doing right now as well. They'll be searching for that venue to see previous weddings that happened there to get inspiration.
Yes, all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're an experienced wedding professional, and then you know that you've done weddings at certain places, certain venues, and you want to and you know that the clients that come from those venues are amazing, they're exact perfect clients, and you want to get more weddings from there, just make sure that you have blogs and portfolio galleries, really good portfolio galleries. I think for experienced ones, you have amazing work that you can showcase. So showcase that work by having individual galleries. Sorry, I don't know much about the American venues and stuff, but if we say, for example, in London, there is a venue called Kew Gardens. It's super high-end, luxury, amazing, mostly high-end, like, wedding businesses would love to do more weddings there because it brings a really good clientele. So if you've done a wedding there, have a gallery. Optimize it again with the keywords, and then add all your beautiful images. Optimize your images, and because then if someone is searching for Kew Garden Wedding London, it's also really important. Like, think about this, not just venues. So if I'm, let's say, getting married in autumn, I'll probably want to see things around like autumn wedding, how an autumn wedding works at that venue, what would be the color scheme.
Absolutely.
That would be completely different than like a summer wedding, right? People may, like, if you're a florist, people may search for like autumn wedding flowers or like even more specific things around that. So just think about like that and then use those. So it could be like a cozy autumn wedding at Kew Gardens, London, for example, could be the title, and just talk about that. And then if someone is searching for that, bam, your portfolio is going to come up. They're going to get inspiration. And if you're the photographer and they love the photos, they're probably going to want to get in touch with you. Same with stationery, florist, any business. So for experienced businesses, I much always advise focusing on specific locations and creating those beautiful galleries. And also then those galleries, you can literally just pin those beautiful images on Pinterest. Again, talking with adding the venue, because that's what I'm doing. Or I'm going to Google, searching. Yeah. I'm also going to Pinterest. I'm also searching on Pinterest. Yeah. And you know what's really interesting? The things I'm finding on Google and Pinterest are usually quite similar, because that's what
they're
people
both
who pay attention. Exactly. And people who pay attention to their SEO know that they need to do both. So that's really important, I would say. Also, the other thing I want to highlight from personal experience too, and this goes back to how the wedding industry is so crowded, right? Sometimes I think very experienced wedding professionals may feel like, oh, I don't need any of marketing because I'm already getting stuff, and you feel like you don't have any competition. That can change literally like that. When I first started, the wedding industry was still in the early stages and booming, and we literally were one of the best out there. We didn't have many competition for years. We didn't feel the need, but then suddenly something happened, and suddenly all these no-name wedding planners started to compete with us. I just started losing maybe some work, or we started hearing more of them, and we were like, who's this person even, And then when I started doing SEO for wedding industry and looking at this, and I realized, oh my God, those people, and just to let you know, when those people started popping up, they were very new, beginner, as I said, not really heard in the wedding industry. And literally within a year, they became this huge names doing all these huge weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were like, who is this even? And taking this huge wedding, and now I'm realizing, and I'm looking, those people still have amazing SEO. They are the ones that are ranking. That's what they do. They were beginners. Because they didn't have any other thing that the experienced businesses were getting in terms of referrals and all that. So they had to do that, right? They had to do their SEO, which then put them on the map, literally, and they skyrocketed their businesses. So I think experienced, established businesses also need to be aware of that. Trends can change anytime, competition can change anytime. So you need to really stay relevant. And the best thing to do is, again, let's say search marketing is really important.
Perfect. Okay, so let me ask you this. You work with a lot of wedding professionals. Give 2 pieces of actionable tips on things that you see that aren't done well, or that when a large amount of people come to you from the wedding industry, you kind of see this and this happening that is not being done well. So some tips that people are going to find valuable, because it's something that we all struggle with in the wedding industry.
Yeah. First thing, and I tested it a few times, and I really see that it has a really quick positive effect on your SEO, is filling out something we call meta title and meta description. It's super simple.
Thank
when we say meta title,
so much for saying that, because that's the thing I see missing on the Pinterest side. When I'm doing Pinterest work for wedding pros, they have no metadata, and I'm having to pull that when it should just come automatically through the images.
Yeah, so that's really important. And when we say meta, I think maybe some people think it's something really technical, but actually it's basically, if we're talking about your website, right, that's basically your unique page title and page description that people don't necessarily see when they're on your website, but it comes up when your website appears on Google search. So it's really important because it first of all tells Google what the page is about. And also when your page comes up, it is the thing that's going to attract people, right? It's not just about coming up on search result, but you also want people to click on your page. So it's really important. And I see that many businesses just leave it empty, or they have the same one repeated on every page. Depending on your platform, you can see them as meta title, meta description. Sometimes it's called SEO title, SEO description. But basically, usually, if you go to your page setting, that unique page setting, there will always be an option to add these, and you can add them manually. And it really makes a huge difference. It is, yeah, you want to use keywords there, but also you don't need to have like fancy keyword tools to figure out the keywords. The best thing for Google, and I think for Pinterest is similar, is just go to the platform, start searching on the search bar. First, sit down and write anything that describes your business, right? Like use adjective first, come up. I always say, think about it that you are on a plane, sitting next to someone, and you started talking, and that person said, "So what do you do?" How do you answer that? Do you say, "I'm a wedding planner, I'm a photographer"? And then they were maybe like, "Oh, great. Like, what type of weddings you do? Or what type of photography you do?" And then what do you answer? Just write them down. That's basically your keywords, right? But then just to double check, you can go to Google search and you can, let's say you said, I'm a wedding photographer, and maybe you define yourself as documentary wedding photographer. Like, go to Google search, start typing wedding photographer, and then see what Google is giving you as like recommendations, because Google will like give you search ideas. Those are the things people are searching quite a lot on Google. See what comes up. If anything is relevant to you, write that down, and then go more specific. And also with the wedding industry, especially, and with similar to all local businesses, by the way, you will see that what Google gives suggestions are mainly going to be locations. It's going to be wedding photographer London and all that. That's why, again, location is super important. Yeah, so then just figure out those keywords and then just use them very naturally on your meta titles and meta descriptions. Try to make them very like specific for that specific page. So that's super important. It doesn't take much time. It's really not complicated. So that's one thing I think everyone definitely should do. The other thing is Google Business Profile. One uses it that much.
It is insanely effective, and almost no one does it. So definitely dive in.
Yeah, so that's a free tool. So, I mean, why not use it? It's incredible. It literally puts you on the map, because you will see, like, for many businesses, when people go and search on Google, one of the search results that will come will be the map listings. You will usually get like 3 top businesses under a map. That's a prime spot to rank, and it's so easy. So you can easily sign up for it. It's free if you have a Google account. I also have a blog post on that as well, like really detailed. So if anyone's wondering, you can go and then implement.
All of the links will be down below. So just FYI, on the show notes, we'll have all the links.
First of all, you want to add a really nice business description. And I think that you have about 170 characters.
Somewhere
so just make sure you use all the character limits. That's your space. And use your keywords, explain, ideally add their locations that you are at. And then what many people don't know is once you pick your business category, so you can pick a category, it could be like wedding planner, it could be photographer, depending on your industry, find the most relevant one, make it as your category, and then Google is going to show you already like inbuilt services for that category. So make sure you click on any that is relevant to you, but don't stop there. You can add something called custom services, which is incredible, and you can add literally anything, and you can use your keywords. So let's say destination wedding photography, right? That's not an inbuilt service, but you can add that. You can add destination wedding photography. You can add like contemporary wedding flowers, whatever, just add them as your custom services. And then what happens is when someone searches for that specifically, and when you come up on Google Maps, Google actually highlights that saying provides, which immediately like takes people attention, because let's say I'm looking for contemporary wedding flowers, or let's say destination wedding photography, and it highlights on that map listing saying this supplier, this business provides destination wedding photography. That's super valuable. So definitely add custom services on your Google Business Profile. Also, a great thing, now you can add your social links. You can add your Pinterest link, you can add your Instagram link. Also, you can add something called updates. So any blog post, you can basically go updates and then add a title, right? Let's say it was like Kew Gardens wedding. You add in one nice image, and then you can add a button to say learn more, and then give a link to that blog post. what happens is when your business comes up, it will have a slider with those beautiful images and titles, and people can immediately see like a portfolio. You can share your portfolio there with specific links. So you're automatically showcasing your work. There's lots you can do with Google Business Profile, but just make sure that you have it optimized. You have your business description, have your business category, contact information, your address. I would say those two are quite important. That's super easy and quick to do, but not many people utilize.
And I will add, I'm very big on marketing workflows that are save you time, right? Like working smarter, not harder. And one thing that I always recommend to clients who are using Google, I always call it Google My Business, but it's now your Google Business Profile. I always recommend whenever you post on social media, do an update with that photo and what you talk about in your Instagram right after you post to Instagram, because then you are in the habit of using it more. Because especially for local businesses like wedding businesses, when people go to Google and search, Google also will rank the people that are in and around where you are on the top of that page, like the map area in particular. I just got booked for brand photography for Kaiser, huge hospital, because they're like 4 blocks from me, and that's literally how they found me. Insane. So definitely add this to your sort of marketing workflow. And I always say to add it like after you post something on social media or after you do a blog post, because then you're not having to put like separate time on your calendar to do this, and it's more of a habit so that you do it more often. I've seen
Exactly.
everyone's ranking on Google just do incredibly well by having
Oh
those
my God, yeah.
updates.
Yeah, definitely. It's so important. And as you said, like it's really good to be thinking about all those different things what you can do. I mean, you gave me a really good tip. Like you was like as well. You were like, when you write your blog post, make sure as soon as you write your blog post, create like at least 3-4 pins for it and schedule. She's like, great, yes. It just makes it so much easier and then just
Exactly.
ready to go out there. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right. What 3 things have helped you to grow your business? And this could be tools, advice, really anything. What are 3 things?
I would say the first thing was working on my mindset. But I had this huge thing about my about sales. I didn't want to come across salesy. I didn't really want to sell my services. I don't know. Just had this like issue around money mindset and asking money, I guess. It was really like just working on that, and I worked with a coach for that. It really helped me. I would say it was really interesting. Like, there were all these like inner work and stuff, and it does work. But for me, what worked was this coach basically told me, she was like, just talk to people. And she was like, first of all, changing your mindset from selling to serving. Because we're serving people, right? Like people need our services. That's what came to us, and that's why we're offering our services. It helps people. It's really valuable to them. So we just need to come from that perspective that we are serving people. And I think once I had that mindset change, it really helped me. It changed the way I talk to people and like just providing value. So yeah, working on my mindset was a huge thing, and I think it's really important. I always say, actually, again, one of my coaches told me this, is like, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is like, it's not a rocket science. It's all about your mindset. It's a mindset game. So it's super important. Connected to that, working with coaches. I mean, I worked with lots of different coaches throughout my business, and every time it's scary. It's a scary investment. Every time I've invested in a coach, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can afford this. I don't know if I want to, like, is that the right thing? But every time you will make your money back so quickly from that, because it's so valuable. Like, it's an investment in yourself and in your business. And I always say, like, why to spend so much time and energy trying to figure out something on your own and fail and get frustrated? Just go with someone who's already done this, who's already gone through the steps and knows and can give you good guidance, is super valuable. So whether that's like just, again, like mindset coach, business coach, done for you services, I think it's super valuable. It saved me so much time and headache and frustration, and every time my business like literally took a step forward. So I always say, just whatever you are struggling with, find a coach to help you with that. Obviously, I'm going to say SEO, but that's true. It's like my partner also has his business, is completely different area. He's a coach for startup funders, and it's the same for him. Yeah, people will contact you on Instagram as well, for example, or Facebook. That's especially on Instagram, but what I personally find is it's not intentional. Like, people are scrolling through and they see you and they're suddenly like, it's just very impulsive. They're like,
It's
"Oh,
like an
that sounds
impulsive buy.
great."
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they're like, "It sounds great. I wonder what does it involve, how much he charges," and they just get in touch, ask you questions, but they're not really. It's not an intentional. They're just curious, right? So I find that, for example, my conversion rate from that is way lower compared to inquiries I get through SEO, because there is intention. People are intentionally searching for what you're offering. And when they find you, if they resonate with you, they book their people. Like most of my clients who come from SEO, they don't even message me. They just book a call with me. I see it on my calendar. I'm like, "Oh, who's this person?" We jump on a call, and they're actually, by the time we jump on a call, they're already like made their mind. They're already ready to buy. They just want to see that I'm a real person and I'm nice enough to work with. So I would say so far my conversion rate from SEO is like near 100. Really, it's so valuable, and that really helps my business. And it really took that pressure away of like, oh, I need to be posting. Like, because I'm going to be genuine here, right? I'm a marketing person, but my marketing is not always perfect. Like, I don't always.
No, because we do all this work for our clients. So our
Exactly.
business suffers. Like,
Yes.
yeah, my wedding Pinterest is big and beefy because I've worked on it for all these years. But my Pinterest page is not as big and beefy because I'm not devoting time to it, because I'm
Exactly.
using all my time on my client work.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, if you look at my Instagram, I'm like, for the last, even like, I think 2 months, I've been really not very good with it. But my SEO is still doing the work, right? So those three are the most important things.
For sure.
Mindset, having coaches, don't be scared of making investment. That's investment in yourself, and
Yes.
you're going to get that money back. And yeah, doing search engine marketing.
Yes. Search marketing is really not talked about as much. Like, people will talk about YouTube or Pinterest or SEO, but it's the search marketing platform where people are intentionally looking for something. So it's
Exactly.
not stumble upon type of marketing, which is social media
Exactly.
marketing. It is people who they want to work with someone and they're looking at who they're going to work with. So yes, the
Exactly.
conversion rates are 100 times better.
And I want to say also, like, it's there is also SEO for Instagram. It's not massive as like Pinterest and Google, but people can be intentional on Instagram as well, because they do search for specific things, and there are things that you can be doing for that as well. And
Which
it's
we're going to
really,
get to, because you're
which, yes, we're going to, yeah. But like, it is, again, like, it doesn't mean that people who are on Instagram are not intentional. They are as well. And actually, Instagram is also like trying to incorporate more and more SEO to it as well, because people are searching. Anything that is a search bar, you should be doing SEO, basically. You should be thinking about it.
Yes. And before we get to the gift, hint, hint, that will be helping you with that, tell everyone about the services that you provide, in case there are any wedding pros out there who are saying, you know what, I really like Nergis and I need her help. So tell us a little bit about your different services.
Sure. So my main service is done for you SEO. It's a full SEO makeover. I take your website and I do everything for you. I give a full SEO makeover to it, which is basically then ready to rank. And then at the end of it, I give you steps if you want to continue doing it on your own. There is like no strings attached. It's a one-off package. And after that, if you want to just continue doing it, you can do it yourself. I just give you the next steps of what you should be doing. I am huge on teaching people how to do SEO, because I'm a firm believer that anyone can do SEO. Really, I know it sounds confusing and it's like so much information out there and it sounds scary, but it's actually not. It's super simple. So even if you want to have a done for you SEO, I always teach people. Like, I always explain why I do, how I do. So at the end of it, you also have a good understanding of why we did certain things, and you can do it on your own. I also have something called Done With You. It's basically it's like this like online course. You have access to video recordings to teach you, but also you have like one-to-one calls with me. So you will watch the recordings basically, and then we'll jump on a call. You will ask your questions. I will guide you with your strategy, and then you will go and implement. You are doing the actual work, but I'm there to hold your hand.
And
So
hold them
that's
accountable.
exactly, and that's really important. That's very important. So those are my main two offerings. I also have something smaller, which is actually worked out really well. I was planning to do it just a one-off offer, but people seem to be very happy with it. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do it again. It's basically something called the visibility roadmap. It's basically we jump on a call and I do your keyword research and I give you a very detailed roadmap of what you need to be doing with very detailed examples specifically for your business. And again, I mostly talk about wedding businesses, but if there's anyone out there who's not a wedding business, any service-based business,
Yes.
feel free to get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to help you. And so super easy process.
Now go out there and do something good for your business, like snagging the freebie and doing all the things so that you also get in the drawing for that free audit. Take action, put some time on your calendar to actually implement these SEO tips so that your business can soar. Thank you so much. Bye.